First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh,
Power by
Hashem,
Hashem,
Yahushua,
Yahushua,
by
by
Hashem,
Hashem,
Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the elders and Akim pushing this truth and sincerity, and to the elect who are receiving this truth. I say grace be unto you. I am the brother Kahan from the GMS Dallas camp, alongside with
the brother Bernard Bond.
Okay, just coming to you with a quick lesson today. We wanted to highlight this article real quick, shedding on some of the past violence and wickedness of so-called white man who was Esau Edom, so that we can shed light on some of the history and learn that certain things shouldn't be repeated. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the article real quick.
Let me read it, or you want me?
You can read it. Let me just pull it up real quick.
I'll pull it up.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. All right. You can go ahead and read it.
The article by Everyday states, it reads, Top 15 Dark Chapters in U.S. History They Don't Teach in School. It says by Marcel Kuhn. It said the pages of history are often filled with tales of triumph and progress, but what about the stories that lurk in the shadows? The ones that are rarely discussed in classrooms, yet have shaped the fabric of the nation. So the United States, like any other country, has its share of dark chapters that are often glossed over or omitted entirely for educational narrative. Here are 15 such events that deserve a closer look.
And again, we're just bringing out these articles so that we can see the history of this violent man. This wicked kingdom. Because again, history is often told by those who are who win the war. So we have to be spiritual. We have to see things in a spiritual way so that we understand the will of Yahweh Shemashah and how things are played out through prophecy. Did you want to bring something out?
Khan, I believe that's Romans 15 and 4.
Let me get that real quick.
Even though we're reading these articles, but it has to align with the scriptures. Certain things that have happened in history are part of prophecy. Okay, I'm not going to say a part of prophecy. It is prophecy.
Right.
Okay, so when we go to Romans,
I'll read it for you.
15 and 4. Go ahead.
It says, this is Romans 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
Okay, so it's talking about the scriptures. The scriptures, through the Spirit and the power of Yahweh Shemashah, we can look back in history and know exactly, who this devil really was. Whereas without this light, without this truth of Yahweh Shemashah, it's just like reading something that we can't really address or really, sink our teeth into. Okay, so that's what's happening to a lot of these Jays. They can't connect what happened in history. They're not really interested. The priest said what? He that wins the war controls the penny. So this is the same devil that's telling you to go to school, telling you the curriculum, telling you what class, language that you should learn.
That's right.
Why is he doing that? Because there's something he does not want you to know. It's not in the schools. It's not being taught to those that will conquer. Why? It will create a rebellious spirit.
That's right. That's beautiful.
So we have to know that whatever things are written in the scriptures, right, aforetime, it helps us to align what's been written in history. It also says what? If you don't understand the mystery, you won't understand the history.
That's right.
Of your people. Okay, we can go back to the article, Baba Shah. I can read it. Okay. The first, it says what? Here are 15 such events that deserve a closer look. It says the Trail of Tears. You want to speak on it?
Con. And we know the Trail of Tears was mainly an attack towards Gad, our Gadite brothers. And again, these are certain things that are told in our school curriculum, and it's overshadowed. It's not really gone into detail. They'll tell you that Christopher Columbus came and discovered America, but they won't go into detail as to the how he massacred, and took the land, for for greed purposes, So and again, just highlighting that Esau was able to, you know, take down a lot of Gadites and you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans through his sword. That was a technology that Esau received from Yahweh Shem Shai.
And after which, he subjected them with his unrighteous decrees.
That's right.
Isaiah 10:1, right? Various laws against them. He killed off the men so he could subject the women, subject the children to his beliefs. He put them in
concentration camp.
No, like Catholic schools, boarding schools.
That's right.
They put a lot of children in boarding schools. And did what? Gave a lot of children what? Measles blankets. But he also gave that to trading wine for blanket. That was one of his methods, one of his weapons of killing them and bringing them down to a lower state. Why? Because he wanted their land.
That's right.
And these lands of today, Washington, D.C., Dallas, these are the lands that belong to the so-called Indians, which are of the 12 tribes. The brothers that say what? Gadites. And, they are of the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the children of Yahweh Shema Shah. Understanding the curses, but we also have to look at this devil who's still in rulership today.
That's right. Just let me read a little bit of the Trail of Tears. It said, the Trail of Tears is a haunting reminder of the forced relocation of Native American tribes, primarily the Cherokee, Creek, and Seminole, from their ancestral lands. This tragic event unfolded in the 1830s under the Indian Removal Act. And again, you have to remember how Esau, once he binds and kills the strong man, the warriors of the tribes, he then reprograms the minds of the children so that they won't know about their history. And this is what he's doing today. This is how Esau is controlling the minds of you so-called blacks and Latinos and Native Americans, through his propaganda, all the things that he's doing today. He still has that same wicked spirit, that during the time of Jacob and Esau. Baba Kashah, can we get that Genesis chapter 27 and 38 real quick?
Okay. Let me get in the blue letter. All right, let me get Genesis 27:38. Genesis 27:38 reads, And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
And 41, real quick.
And 41 reads, And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then shall I slay my brother Jacob.
So look at that. So look how Esau wept because of the birthright that he gave up. And then Isaac blessed him with the sword. And as soon as he received that blessing, what was his words? He said that he was going to pursue Jacob, his brother. He was going to pursue him to death. And that's that same spirit that we're seeing while we are reading this article about the atrocities that Esau has committed in history. That same spirit is being carried. How Esau is what he hates Jacob. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American, and it's very evident in all these small little historical points that we're seeing, primarily in the Trail of Tears, right? Did you want to bring out something?
Yeah, Job 9:24.
Okay, let me read it for you.
Okay, Job 9:4 goes into that blessing which Isaac gave unto Esau.
I got it.
Now, we have to acknowledge that the Most High controls all things. So that blessing was already preordained that Isaac was going to give it to him, man. That's part of the story.
That's right.
You got it.
This is Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
So the Most High gave the power unto Esau, Edom. The Most High, because the children of Israel, right, were being disobedient, allowed Esau, the basis of men, to be the ruler, even in this time. So whereas talks about the faces of the judges, the true judges, you know, are here today, all right? But he was able to do this through iconoclasm, you know, like, you know, chopping off the nose of a lot of these arts and
whitewashing
everything, the big propaganda to, you know, repaint rebrand the churches that had, you know, Jake, men of melanin, okay, and put his own image in there, right? He covered the faces of the judges. But you can still go to England today or Europe and see black sculptures. Even in Russia, released a video that showed a lot of the prophets, right? Yahweh Shai, and the men that followed him, his disciples, were so-called black men, men of color.
That's right. And
when I say color, I mean melanin.
Melanated. Come on. Just to add to what the priest is saying, that's a part of that reprogramming that Esau uses once he destroys you. You know, this we started with the article what it says that this is 15 atrocities that won't be taught in the schools today. So you know, alongside that, you know, Esau's, you know, killing or showing the historical patterns of killing your people, he's also showing the pattern of killing the minds of the youths, so that they don't know of Esau's past. So like,
we can get back to the article. We're not going to read. We can't read every single one, but the title of the article is "Top 15 Dark Chapters in U.S. History." They don't teach you in school, so we're going to glaze over this. We said what? The Trail of Tears. And Esau injects some of his nonsense in here too, right? He has to try to control the narrative. Go ahead.
Right. The second one is the internment of Japanese Americans. Do you want me to read a little bit? I'm just going to do the titles.
Okay, yeah, let's just do the titles now. Not understanding Deuteronomy 28, right, and 68, that the Most High said he shall scatter us.
That's right.
Okay, I think that's also in Deuteronomy 28 and 48 that we shall be scattered to all four corners.
Right.
Okay, I know it's in there. Some of these Japanese will be Jakes.
Right.
Will be Jakes. So, you know, we're not saying that Japanese people are Hebrew Israelites. No, but considering that we were scattered to all four corners, we're everywhere. Go ahead.
It says the Tulsa Race Massacre.
Okay.
Right. It says what Tulsa dead total 85, 9 of them white. It says fighting resumed, although city is declared under martial law. I think you know, they did a movie called what, Rosewood, kind of going into how the you know, Black Wall Street and, you know, how Jake was you know, prosperous and Esau basically didn't like it. You know, and a race war came about.
Yeah. And they had laws to protect themselves. We can get a precept real quick. Isaiah 10 and 1.
Okay.
Actually, you know, I like that scripture, but I want to get Psalms 94 and 20.
Okay. This is
Psalms 94 and 20.
94 verse 20. I get it real quick. This is Psalm chapter 94 verse 20. It says, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?"
You see? So Jake was trying to live side by side with Esau Edom. Okay, we're talking about a Black Wall Street. Jake, so-called blacks, you know, mainly, were able to establish their own community, hospitals, grocery stores. They had a, you know, a community that was prospering.
Their own land, everything.
They were prospering.
And Baba Kashad, not to interrupt, but you know, that's what some of these Israelite camps are trying to go into now. Mainly IUIC trying to get funds and capital to try to buy land. It's already been done, right? It was there was no true salvation in that. It ultimately came to naught because Esau came and destroyed it.
Yeah, and there's no spirituality when you talk about those camps that don't call upon the name of Yahweh Shem El Shai. If you're trying to build something, in these times, knowing that we are at the end,
Mm-hmm.
then whatever you put your energy into, hey, it's going to be
Destroyed.
burnt up as well.
That's right.
So it says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which framest mischief by a law.
Mm-hmm.
So the last living person, okay, which recently died, okay, that witnessed all the stuff that happened in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
The last verdict was, through Esau's law, they said that happened too long ago for them to do anything. So there was no reparation. There was no justice whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And look how they drew it out. Man. It was long drawn till everyone that was involved died out.
That's right.
And that's who you're dealing with even to today.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. We'll go back to that article real quick. Okay, so
what's the next one?
I think we finished the Tulsa Race Massacre. It said what, the Sand Creek Massacre.
Okay. The Gadites as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Cheyenne and Arapaho Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The next one is the Forgotten History of Lynching. Now it's talking about you so-called blacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
What has Esau done to show any type of remorse or any type of repercussions or justice for the lynching of these so-called blacks?
Go ahead and read that, Baba Shah. It's meaty. It's saying what you just said, Slaki.
Khan says, lynching in America was not just an act of violence, but a tool of terror used to maintain racial hierarchy, right? From the late 19th century through the mid-20th century, thousands of African Americans were lynched, often for perceived transgressions or simply for being black. And look at this. Now Esau bring you the history of the so-called small hats, quote unquote, the Holocaust, but they got some type of reparation. They got some form of justice, right? But he's not going to do that for you, right? He's not going to do that for you so-called blacks, right? He'll let you march in the street. He'll let you protest. He'll let you vote. But he ain't going to, when it comes to any type of economic power, empowerment, he's not going to do nothing for you.
Yeah. And that's part of the curses as well, right?
That's right.
Bywords and proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
Him calling you black,
right? Not
acknowledging, the elites know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to keep you in that subdued state of mind, if you don't tap into the word of Yahweh Shem Shai through a great millstone and those that are preaching in sincerity and in truth, you will never know who you are, because even to today you're still saying that you're black and you're proud.
That's right.
Whereas we're telling you a Hebrew Israelite. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite.
There you go.
Go ahead.
It says these public spectacles drew large crowds and were a grim reminder of the racial animosity that permeated society. Right? The legacy of lynching continues to influence discussions on racial justice today, highlighting the need for reconciliation and understanding. And listen, Esau likes to promote the perception that he wants to fulfill justice or reconcile, but in actuality, right, in real time, he does not want to do that. He spiritually he hates you. Baba Kashab, if we can get Job 19:27.
This is Job 19:27, and it reads. All right. It reads, whom...
Oh, 29. I'm sorry, 29. I'm sorry.
This is Job 19:29. Say, be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringeth the punishment of the sword, that ye may know there is judgment.
That's right. So just land backing off what the priest was going into as far as prophecy, pursuing Deuteronomy 28 chapter. This is the curses of Jake, right? This is the curses that for basically being disobedient from that first covenant, right? Our Yahweh Shem Shab, gave us into the hands of our enemies, and the only one who can remove that is Yahweh Shem Shab. So that's the power that we need to pray to. That's the true power that's gonna give us justice. Yeah.
Even if we go to Deuteronomy 28:64, because Esau Edom, as it stands today, wants you to put your hope in him. I said 64. What did I say? 48.
Deuteronomy 28:64.
No, 48. Let's go to 48.
Okay.
Baba Shah.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. It says, so like it says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
If this isn't, because Jake always wants some kind of proof. Okay, that yoke around your neck. Who experienced that?
Mm-hmm.
Was it not you so-called blacks,
Mm-hmm.
Native Indians,
Mm-hmm.
Latinos?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is says you shall go to your enemy for the one of all things. So Esau, Edom, as it stands today, wants you to call upon him for the one of all things.
Mm-hmm.
He wants you to put your hope in him, your faith in him, that he's going to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why you always go to Esau, Edom with your hand out.
That's right.
All right? He doesn't want you to ball up your fist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He doesn't want you to revolt. That's happened throughout various history.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Job 9:24 kicks in. This earth is given to the hand of Esau, Edom. You can't take him down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But at the same time, he has to keep you subdued, so you always come with your hand out and never with your hand fist.
Mm-hmm.
So he fears you, but he doesn't fear you as long as you are not in connection with your power.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you get in connection with your power, then he really fears you.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
All right?
And it's beautiful that the priest is going into, because again, weapons of Scripture says what our weapons of this world is not carnal but spiritual and mighty through Yahweh Shemi Shai.
Okay.
So we're not promoting any type of violence whatsoever, because we understand it's our power that's going to deliver us. It's Romans 12:19. Yahweh Shemi Shai's vengeance is going to be upon our enemies. But still, in our minds, we should meditate and understand that our enemy is not going to give us any form of justice. So that's the whole point. You should constantly understand that your through our history, your enemy is going to lie to you. And we need to use the spirit to understand who, first and foremost, the fear of Yahweh Shemi Shai, and then understand that doing that will bring us an understanding of who our enemies is and who we truly are.
Sirach 12:10 said, never trust thine enemy.
That's right.
And the word of the Most High does not return to him void.
That's right.
It's actually a warning. Okay? And if you're not listening to the men of the Lord, great millstone, hey, there won't be no cloak for your sins, man.
That's right.
All right? And Esau Edom is always going to keep subduing you.
That's right.
There's something that's coming around the corner called the sea hip. Okay? He's going to create some type of pandemic.
False
right?
flag.
False flag. He's going to come to you as a false prophet and say he can save you. You see? But first he's going to persecute you, Jacob's trouble, right? Then he's going to act like he can save you, man. He always wants to control the narrative, all right?
That's right. We'll go back to
Yeah, we'll go back to just glaze over what else did he do?
Okay. It says these public spectacles drew large crowds and
We already read that.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the next one?
Okay. The forced sterilization of marginalized groups. And that's man, that's a history lesson in and of itself. Is
Right.
The Margaret Sanger, the eugenics project, Planned Parenthood. All of that is a part of Esau's plan to destroy you. Why? Because he still has that spirit of Esau. He has that spirit of Cain. He hates you. He wants to ultimately destroy you. Right? That's why removing important historical events out of the school is a main objective of Esau, so that you can remain confused and you can remain obedient and a slave in his system.
And that's why history is so important, because if you don't know where you came from, how do you know where you're going?
Right.
How do you even understand your present?
That's right.
You see? Because Esau Edom is controlling the narrative. He's controlling your reality. But if you had a glimpse, because there's some people that understand history and know history, but you're still powerless unless you can understand why. If you don't understand why all these things happen, who did it, who's going to take this man down, then what's your hope?
That's right.
You can just keep fighting vainly, but this man has been given the power
That's
over
right.
you.
That's right. It says in Bible Shah, we can get Psalms 64 verse 1-3, but let me read a little bit of the eugenics movement. It says,
Oh, you didn't tell me you went there.
yeah, I'm just reading. a little bit
Okay,
of
the article.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get Psalm 64 to kind of complement that. It says the eugenics movement in the U.S. led to the forced sterilization of thousands deemed unfit, quote unquote unfit. And who's quote unquote unfit? You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans.
Useless eaters. Useless eaters.
You know, it says to reproduce. Isn't he doing that today?
Mm-hmm.
Disproportionately affecting marginalized groups. That's the code word that they use for you so-called blacks and Latinos and Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
It says people with disabilities, the mentally ill, and people of color were targeted in an attempt to quote unquote improve society.
Mm-hmm.
This pseudo-scientific belief in controlling reproduction left a lasting impact on those who suffered its consequences. And believe you me, even though Esau tries to, he's definitely doing it today. He hasn't. This program has not gone underground. It's just been renamed, right? It says the forced sterilization programs are a sobering reminder of the dangers of discrimination masquerading as science.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so man, that's crazy.
Come.
Let me get that Psalms.
Yeah.
64.
We can probably end on that.
Okay.
Psalm 64.
Mm-hmm. Let's start at 1.
You ready?
Yeah.
To what?
Let me see. I just want to get to the meat. I think it's. Let's just read 1 through 3.
This is Psalm 64 and 1, and it reads, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O power, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words.
And again, this is a part of their doctrine. As we read in the article, the eugenics program or project was a program that was founded off of science, pseudoscience. They used pseudoscience to legitimize their destruction, or destruction of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right. So when it says who wet their tongue, that word wet means sharpen. Right. They sharpen their tongue is like their philosophy, their doctrine, and like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. Right. So again, it's just highlighting that history, or going into history, with the spiritual eye, can highlight who your enemy is, and how it plays a major role in today's affairs.
I got one last precept to let you know the conclusion of all this wickedness that Esau Edom has been doing. It's Ezekiel 35 and 5. Because we're understanding that Esau said when his father dies, Genesis 27:40, that he shall kill his brother Jacob. And he meant that. Go ahead.
Ezekiel 35 verse 5 says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end.
Go ahead.
Verse 6, therefore as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee.
Since
see if thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
So that's going to be the end of Esau Edom right there, man. All right, because he did much. He did much to the apple of the Most High's eyes, and the Most High is the avenger of his people.
That's right.
That's why he's in the scripture known as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That's right.
He will avenge his children, the elect. All right. So hey, as we read all these things that Esau Edom has done throughout history, it was written to happen, man. We don't get emotional about this. We get spiritual because we know the end of Esau Edom.
That's right.
As it says in 2 Ezra 6 and 9, Esau Edom is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it.
That's right.
All right, with that being said, we want to give all thanks, all praise to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
double honors to the elder apostle of Great Millstone, rule well, teach well, peace, and salutations to the hopeful elect.
Shalom.
Shalom Israel, by Yahshua Dawadah, House of David.